All right, so let's talk about how to change the cabin air filter on a Honda Ridgeline. This should also apply to most pilots. Now, the location of the cabin air filter is the same in the older generation Ridgelines as well as any older pilots. The difference is on how you remove the glove box. And I'll talk about that in just a second. So first order of business, got to get a filter, under 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll put a link to it in the video description as well as the comments. A dealership, I think, charges, this will vary, but probably about 60 or 70 bucks to change this for you. So under 20 bucks to buy it yourself, and it will take you, it can take under a minute, quite frankly, to do this on your own. So over the life of the vehicle, you're going to save yourself hundreds and hundreds of dollars by doing this yourself. As far as how often to change it, I live in a very dry and dusty climate, so I find that 20,000 miles is about the longest I want to go with mine. I had a first generation Ridgeline before this one, and so I'm very familiar with how often I need to change it. But yeah, if you're in a humid environment, maybe you can get away with 30,000, but I'd say 20,000 is probably a good time to start taking a peek at this. And for under 20 bucks, why not, right? So it's worthwhile. All right, first order of business, empty the glove box, which if you're like me, it's a little bit messy, a little bit cluttery, so that might take a minute, but empty that out. All right, so big difference between the newer Ridgelines, and probably applies to the Pilot as well, and the older ones is the newer ones are a good bit easier to get this glove box down so that you can get to the cabin air filter. With the older models, there's a little clip on each side that you have to remove and then set it aside. So remove each side and then it just pops down. And then when you bring it back up, you have to plug in those clips again. And yeah, that's it. I did it dozens of times on my old Ridgeline and it was very easy to do, but they made it even easier on the newer ones. So what you have to do is you're going to push in either side, and you can do one side at a time or you could probably do both. You're going to push in the side to release the clip or release the the stopper. And then so I've got that side undone. Now I'll do this one. Maybe doing them at the same time is easier. So you see these stoppers, all you're doing is pushing that in. You can see the way it's designed, there's a little give. So it allows you to kind of push it in, and you push that down. And the cabin air filter is right here. Again, looks very similar to the old Ridgelines, and probably the Pilots look exactly the same. For those of you who don't know, a Ridgeline is basically a Pilot with a truck bed. Same engine, a lot of the same stuff. So the design is going to be very similar. All right, so on this particular one, and this applies to the old ones as well, there's two little clips on either side. You're just going to push those in at the same time and then pull out the door. And it pops out just like that. And you can see, I've seen them a lot worse than this. This is not horrible, but there's a good bit of dust in there. Again, I live in a very dry climate. But, so, you can use this one, if you don't remember like how it goes in, then before you pull it out, take a look at it. And there should be an indicator, yeah. So see the indicator there? It says airflow down. And the reason is because the air inlet is on top of the dash by the hood, and it comes this way into your ventilation system. So you'll see on this new one, it does have an airflow indicator arrow as well. So we're just going to make sure it's pointing down, just like the old one. All right, so Out with the old, in with the new. And you may have to kind of play with this to figure out which direction it goes in, but it should fit in very easily, which it did. And then you just slide it back in. One of the easiest cabin air filters I've ever seen, and I've changed a few. Make sure you push it in. You should hear it kind of snap in place. That's in. And then all we're going to do is, in reverse order, we're going to push these in so they get behind the stoppers. That's good. And that's done. Again, save yourself some money. Do this yourself. I'll put a link to the filter in the description and the comments. And hopefully you found that helpful.